Rick the Jet Roufus. It's the World Light Heavyweight Full Contact Division Championship, and Roufus holds the title now.
You stop, you immediately stop to fight.
Au break, vous décrochez, vous faites un pas en arrière.
When you say you break, you just stop fighting, and without any sign of the referee, you begin again, okay?
Coup de pied au-dessus de la ceinture.
Kicks over the belt. Just over the belt.
Shake hands, please.
Check your hands, please. They don't want. Ils ne veulent pas.
They do not want to shake hands. Rick the Jet Roufus from Atlanta, Georgia. Ernesto Hoost, 47-7-2 from Amsterdam. Roufus, as I mentioned, the world title holder. Hoost wants to steal it.
No love lost between these two. Lon, in 1992, Rick Roufus won a decision over Ernesto Hoost right here in Marseille. Controversial. Hoost ever since has said that he actually won that fight, and tonight he'd leave no doubt.
Neither one of them has forgotten that night. Roufus, as you may guess, from Atlanta in the red, white, and blue shorts, goes down on the slip. Mike, what are we looking for in the full contact division here tonight?
This will be above the waist kicks only. We won't see the kicks to the legs that we're familiar with in the Oriental rules and Muay Thai divisions. Of course, we'll see a lot of punching up top, but no elbows.
You see the distinct difference in the stature of these two men. Roufus, the big, solidly built hulk of a man, and Roufus comes in more wiry, but I'm sure no less strong.
This is completely the opposite of their fight in 1992. At that time, Hoost much more muscular up top. He tried to box a lot with Roufus in that fight, and he lost. Roufus at that time, he was slimmer, concentrated more on kicks. Tonight he said he's going to be punching up top. Hoost says he's going to be the kicker. Lon, I think early action here has borne that out. Hoost has been concentrating on legs. Looks like he's doing nothing but looking to set up the right leg roundhouse kick.
Big spin and a connect from Roufus.
Slipped in right under the elbow, and look at the legs on Roufus. Tremendous thighs. Spinning back kick like that hits with such power, and from Roufus it can be devastating.
Normally in the first round of a fight, particularly in a kickboxing fight, you're going to see a lot of feeling out, but both of these fighters seem like they're picking it up where they left it off in Marseille from 1992. A lot of action in round one.
All right, good, baby.
A lot of respect of each other's capabilities. Roufus said he would punch more in this fight. Hoost was ready for that, and I think this spinning back kick caught him by surprise. Very nicely done. Tremendous impact on the lower left ribs. The spin, centrifugal force builds up, and that huge thigh of Roufus just drives his heel into that floating rib.
And there are the feet that did it, and there was no blocking by the elbow from Hoost at all, and he felt the full impact of that spinning kick. Round two, it is a world light heavyweight full contact division title fight. Roufus holds the title right now.
Very intense look on Hoost's face. He sees something. He sees some opening of Roufus's he's trying to concentrate on. Inadvertent knee by Hoost.
A lot of fighters fight in different divisions where they might be able to use that, and I guess in the heat of the battle sometimes they may throw in an extra knee once in a while.
Roufus does not fight in the freestyle rules, oriental rules, or Muay Thai divisions where low kicks are allowed. Never has, says he never will. It's Hoost's specialty. This is a little out of his division. Full contact is different for him. Has had maybe 3 or 4 fights in this division.
That has to take a lot of discipline, as I say, in the heat of battle, to remember which division you're fighting in.
Lon, it does. Someone as professional as Hoost is able to pull it off.
Nearing the end of round 2, full of action. And there is the end. So far, Mike, they're fighting fairly evenly and both just as aggressive.
Hoost keeps looking for something. Keeps working that right leg roundhouse kick. I think he sees an opening he's hoping to hit with it.
Will a fighter want to save that tidbit maybe for a point that he knows will make that fighter go down?
Hoost is waiting for the time.
We'll be back with the rest of this World Light Heavyweight title fight in just a moment.
Round action. Rick Roufus on the offensive. Looking for an opening up underneath, in between the gloves. Sides on the roundhouse kick. Almost slips under the elbow, but not quite. The intensity on Rick Roufus's face is obvious. Does not want this fight to go the distance.
We begin round 3. Title fight from Marseille, France. Palais de Sport. On the deuce, I'm Lon McCarron along with Mike Sawyer.
Again, Hoost is warned by referee Jean Biamonti about the knee coming in too close to Roufus's head. Hoost keeps working that right leg roundhouse kick, occasionally in too tight. And that knee comes into play.
And you see the intensity of Roufus when he's got Hoost. He just picks up that speed and the power. He just will not let him off the ropes.
Perhaps only Rob Kamen has more of a killer instinct than Rick Roufus. If Roufus thinks an opponent is in trouble, he is unrelentless, unmerciful, looks for the knockout from either hand or foot. Just wants to put him down.
That's a slip.
One of the few left leg kicks by Hoost in this fight. Keeps looking to set up his right leg kick. Inside, usually leading with hands, and then the kick, as we see right there.
Holding with hands, too.
Sometimes trying to go into the elbow, sometimes up high to the head.
Hou je handen vlak. Hou je handen vlak. Kom op.
Big left kick from Rick the Jet Roufus right at the end of 3rd round. The Jet, even though he is the title holder here, he certainly seems to respect his opponent to the nth degree here, Mike.
Particularly those kicks of Hoost. Hoost kicks very, very hard. We see swelling under both of Roufus's eyes. He's been tagged probably by the right leg roundhouse of Hoost and the left hook of Hoost. Those have been Hoost's best weapons so far.
And with a fight that's scheduled to go 12 rounds, and the swelling so early on, that will not portend well.
Big mistake by Roufus here, dropping the left hand on the left roundhouse kick. Hoost took full advantage of that mistake. Nice body, nice power in this right, straight right over top. Hoost just doesn't have the power in his hands that he had in the first fight back in '92.
We begin round 4 action. Rick the Jet Roufus in the red, white, and blue trunks going against Ernesto Hoost from Amsterdam. Well, don't forget, in round 2, Mike Sawyer mentioned that Hoost may have seen some avenue to get to Roufus. He may have used it to get to his eyes, but he may know a bigger avenue to knock this man down.
Well, Hoost is not working the body at all on Roufus. Admittedly, Roufus's body looks like one of the walls of the arena here, but almost exclusively headhunting by Hoost.
Roufus is covering up and playing a big defensive game now as Hoost goes at him.
I believe Hoost sees that Roufus's hands are held a little low, particularly when Roufus has kicked or punched. He drops them a little. Hoost is trying to come over top, mostly with the left hook and the right roundhouse kick.
You just have to look below his eyes and those mouses that appeared below those eyes to see that that is true.
Here in France, the referees tend to be much more involved in the action than our fights in America. Diamante warning the fighters quite often.
Well, Rick the Jet Roufus holds the title, but Hoost looking like the one who may have his hand on it right now, and I think Rick may feel he may be in a little bit of trouble at this point. Back with round 5 on the deuce.
Hoost on the offensive. Roufus looking for the counter. Can't quite get there. The right roundhouse kick by Hoost is keeping him off balance the entire fight.
Roufus just has no time to retaliate.
Well, Hoost moves him back with punches and then follows with the roundhouse kick. All Roufus can do is just cover up. Did well there, covering with the left shoulder, avoiding the roundhouse kick.
Ready for action in round 5 of this World Light Heavyweight Full Contact Division. Rick Roufus has the title going against Ernesto Hoost. Roufus can take this fight one of 2 ways right now. He can continue how he's going and lose this fight, or he can turn it around and remember that he's got the title and he's the one that has to lose it.
Roufus's best bet is to stay in right where he is there.
And there he goes. He picks up the action immediately, and Hoost goes down.
That was not a knockdown. He was pushed down by Roufus. Diamante called it a slip.
But still, we saw Roufus moving forward instead of backward, as we've seen in the previous 4 rounds.
The power in Roufus's punches can be clearly heard all over this arena. Hoost's biggest problem will be getting tagged with some of those inside punches. He's done well so far keeping Roufus at a distance, but now in this round, he's starting off badly. Roufus is keeping him on the defensive on the ropes.
Definitely a bit of a role reversal in this round 5.
This will work to Hoost's advantage if he can survive the onslaught in this round. Roufus is expending a lot of energy, and this is still early in the fight. We've got another 7 rounds after this one.
And Hoost has already taken a big toll on Roufus, and so he may have to go into his reserves a little earlier than he has expected.
Well, Hoost is hoping Roufus will punch himself out a little in this round.
Well, at the end of round 5, and Roufus seems to have gotten a little bit of life maybe a little bit of advice from his corner. But Hoost doesn't look much the worse for wear. 47-7-2 coming into this fight tonight, Ernesto Hoost.
Hoost receiving extensive instructions from his trainers. This was the push down by Roufus. Roundhouse kick did not score, just pushed him off his feet. Different angle, same kick. Kick is blocked by the right shoulder of Hoost. He just loses his balance.
Scheduled for 12. This will be the beginning of round 6. Rick Roufus saw some of his tactics work in round 5. He'll need to employ those here in round 6.
He needs to stay aggressive as he did in the last round. If he lays back, Hoost is going to look for that opening for the right roundhouse kick, and he's going to score with it.
That's the first one of those he's missed.
Kom op. Hou die rechtse klaar. Ja, dat is het. Juist, hou die handen hoog. Kijk, daar is het.
Another slip, not a knockdown.
Good round from Roufus so far. He's staying aggressive. He's beginning to counter those right leg roundhouse kicks with a slip off to his right side and a lead right hand.
Roufus says, no, that didn't connect. But now, Hoost is coming back, and he is the aggressor once more.
Every strategy Roufus has tried to employ, Hoost has effectively countered. Now he's doing it again. Good round for Roufus halfway through, but now Hoost has taken back the aggressor's role, and he's building up points on all the judges' cards.
It's not inconceivable that Hoost, after his flurry in the first 4 rounds, just merely needed a rest for a round and a half. Halfway through this title fight, and it appears, if I were a judge, that Hoost would have the upper hand at this point.
Lon, in 50 previous fights, Rick Roufus has done nothing but impress us. This fight, he hasn't been able to get going. Hoost has effectively countered virtually every strategy he's tried, and I am sure that Hoost is ahead at this point.
If he wants to hang on to his title, the Jet's going to need some high octane.
Your arm is fine.
This has been the set up the right leg roundhouse kick there, right under the shoulder. No immediate apparent damage, but that takes its toll. Here again, same move. This time just grazes the face. If he had caught on the side of the jaw, it could have been a knockout kick.
Roufus saw it coming, but he was just not quick enough to get out of the way. He's lucky he did turn his head when he did. Round 7. Rick Roufus's title is in danger. Ernesto Hoost is showing himself to be a very, very calculated and sneaky strong opponent. And Hoost picking up where he left off as the aggressor, but Roufus is not going to let him have any quarter.
Roufus going back to the aggressor role we saw back in rounds 4 and 5. He just isn't the same Rick Roufus we've seen in previous fights. He's slower of foot. He's not mixing his kicks with his hands as well. Hoost has taken advantage of every opportunity so far.
You have to wonder if the jet lag, the time zone, maybe his training just wasn't as good. Oh, and there is a foul.
Inadvertent low kick by Hoost. Referee will give Roufus time to recover.
Though he won't score any points in the judges' cards, that is certainly going to go against Rick Roufus in a very bad way, because he was not up to any type of kick like that.
He's been having enough trouble as it is. It looks a little winded here in the middle rounds. Actually, this break will help him get his wind back, but he may be feeling that kick to the groin for rounds to come. Could affect his kicking.
Okay. Time. Fight.
It's obvious what Hoost's strategy is. 4 hard back leg right roundhouse kicks in a row. He's trying to hit anything that he can hurt.
There's the axe from Roufus, bringing that heel up and above and down. Had no effect on Hoost.
Stoot rechts, trap rechts. Nee, Ernesto, stoot in. 20 seconden net nou. Domineer. 20 seconden, stoppen. Ja, wat door. Dan die trap. En hij geeft nog 10 seconden, maar je moet dan weer in hebben. Kom. Let op, nou is het 10 minuten. Ja.
Rufus's arms have lost the snap that he had. End of round 7. And again, Roufus continues on his pattern. The title holder seemed to be being drained with each round, Mike.
Roufus just isn't bringing the punches with as much speed as we've seen in previous fights. Hoost is beginning to pick him up now, sees him coming. He moves his head. He blocks with his hands, always following the right roundhouse kick. Interesting move here by Rick Roufus. We haven't seen him do it before. Fakes the left leg roundhouse kick and goes with a lead left up top. Doesn't fool Hoost, but it's quite an interesting move. Here's the low kick. Spinning back kick by Hoost. Hits Roufus in the groin. Look at the pain on the Jet's face. But he recovered, no permanent damage, apparently.
I heard the groans in America's living room right there, Mike. Unlike Rick Rufus's face, Ernesto Hoost not showing the effects of this fight so far. Rick Roufus has not been able to get through the defense of Ernesto Hoost. Round 8, scheduled for 12 on the deuce.
Roufus looking to complain to referee Biamonte about Hoost holding his foot after the kick.
He did that earlier in the fight, and I think that's Rufus's complaint that he's already done this. You've already warned him about it.
It is against the rules, and Hoost will be penalized if he continues to do it. Bad pattern developing here for Roufus, Lon. He's laying back. He's not countering Hoost's lead leg roundhouse kicks. He's not throwing combinations. He's throwing one shot at a time. Looks like he's getting winded.
Crowd cheering any hint of a point from the champion.
Rick Roufus is a big favorite in France. Marseilles, he's always won before. The fans here haven't forgotten that 92 fight between these two. It was a 12-round war from bell to bell. Nice counter there by Roufus. One of the few times in this round he's effectively put combinations together.
With his fatigue at this point, Roufus may have to change his style a bit, Mike. It seems he may have to go to a less hard, straightforward, aggressive fighter and just try to score points because he apparently cannot put Hoost away.
I think he's doing that now. He's waiting for Hoost to be the aggressor, and he's trying to look for counter punches.
You want me to cut that off?
Still looking tired, and they're trying to work anything they can in that corner to get Rick Roufus to walk away with the title belt that he now holds.
Rick Roufus countering the roundhouse kick of Hoost. Nice counter, but look at Rufus's right hand way down. Here, nice lead left, but no follow-up again. Hands low. Bad for Roufus. Nice uppercut by Roufus, but again, unable to counter further. A little off balance, a little too far away.
He just can't finish it. You know, he can throw that first punch, but like you said, the follow-up, which is all important, particularly against a very strong opponent like Ernesto Hoost, is all important.
Again, that's out of character for Rick Roufus. He's one of the fastest, most aggressive killers out there in the ring.
Hoost is all over Rick Roufus.
I think Hoost senses that Roufus is a little fatigued. This is the time he's been waiting for. He's going to put heavy pressure on now.
Rick Roufus is in deep trouble. Round 9.
Roufus unable to counter at all. He's only trying to cover up and survive. And Hoost is punching away, but he appears to be looking for the kicks, really.
And the only reason this fight probably has not been stopped is because it's happening to Rick the Jet Roufus, the title holder.
Something very wrong with Rick Roufus here. He's tired, but he shouldn't be that tired at this point.
Perhaps another low blow by Ernesto Hoost, but he's not going to get the 8 count from the referee. Very surprising to see Rick Roufus take this tactic.
Something is wrong with Roufus, and it may be his left arm. They were icing it between rounds. He doesn't appear to be able to do anything with it. I think he has an injury to that left forearm.
I think you're right. He's just holding it against his chest, holding it, trying to protect himself with that arm, while Hoost goes at him, and finally, Rick Roufus will get a standing 8 count.
5, 6, 7.
That will be scored as though it were a knockdown.
Late in round 9, scheduled for 12, and there is the bell. Perhaps the best round so far for Ernesto Hoost and the worst for Rick Roufus. Let's check the left arm. You see Roufus holding it up. We did see the ice happening on that arm between the last 2 rounds. Round 10 coming up could tell the story for Rick Roufus.
Ernesto Hoost's best weapon this entire fight, that right leg roundhouse kick, cleanly scoring on Rick Roufus in that last round. Here's a different angle. Notice Rufus's left arm, how low it is. He sees the kick coming, he pulls back, but he can't raise his left arm to block. Something is wrong with that arm. In between rounds, we saw obvious swelling on the arm, and again, his corner was icing it down.
I think they're talking about it as they get ready for this next round. He couldn't pick up what we think is his good arm either. It did not get above his waist on that big roundhouse kick from Ernesto Hoost.
Very nasty angle that head snapped back on also, Lon, from that roundhouse kick. That's the kind that can take a whole lot out of you quickly. Roufus hasn't been the Jet that we're used to this fight, and we'll see how much effect that kick had here in round 10.
3 rounds to go, scheduled for 12 from Marseilles, France. The Palais de Sport. I'm Lon McCarron along with Mike Sawyer calling the action. ISKA Kickboxing on ESPN2.
Same thing again, Lon. The right roundhouse kick. Slipped over top of the left glove and scored. Roufus saw it coming. He saw him pull his head back, but couldn't lift his left arm.
And you see that useless left glove of Rick Roufus as he goes down.
5.
Called a slip by referee Biamonte.
You know, we've been talking about the condition of Rick Roufus, but Ernesto Hoost has looked so clean and so smooth and so strong, it's almost seamless and invisible.
Hoost said he trained for this fight like never before. Said he had a strategy that would work, and we've seen it here. He has not been inside with Roufus, matching strength. Instead, he's fought very smart. He's used his best weapon, that right leg roundhouse kick. He's used it very cleverly.
It is obvious he came prepared for revenge from the 1992 loss on the same canvas. Roufus has his leg caught in the ropes. And that is the end of round 10. Not quite as dramatic as we saw in round 9, but still Roufus is going to have to pull out a miracle to hold on to his championship belt.
Still a bad round for Rick Roufus. The most disturbing thing is he doesn't seem to have anything going, no game plan.
Rick Roufus needs to pull out any trick he's got if he wants to win. Back with more.
You're going to catch him. Let's trade. The right hook and the right uppercut.
Hoost's big weapon in this fight, the right leg roundhouse kick, effective again in that last round. Just tags Roufus on the side of the jaw. Here he's in a little closer. His ankle wraps itself completely around Roufus's neck. See the snap on the head. Roufus just can't get that arm up in time.
You a short kick?
One of the few times Roufus has effectively countered that right leg roundhouse there with an overhand left.
We knew it was going to be a big weapon for Ernesto Hoost, but we certainly didn't understand how big a weapon it really was going to be. As we begin round 11 of this title fight, it's a world light heavyweight full contact division championship fight, and an equipment problem perhaps with Hoost.
Adjustment of his right foot pad, probably worn out, Lon, from the amount of use that right leg has taken in this fight. And I don't think we'll see anything different. I think Hoost is going to stay with it. He's scoring well with it. He's just going to keep banging that right leg in there, trying to get a clean shot on the head.
And the sands are running out of the hourglass for Rick the Jet Roufus, and he knows it. He is summoning any courage, any power, any strength that he may have left. Oh, and what a kick. The right. And Roufus down perhaps for the last time.
Hoost has been looking for that the whole fight. Finally it was there. Roufus never saw it coming.
And Roufus is still down. He cannot beat the count. He is flat on his back. And Ernesto Hoost has stolen the world light heavyweight title belt from Rick Roufus, who is still not moving in the middle of the Palais de Sport canvas.
I hope that's exhaustion that's keeping him down, Lon, because that roundhouse kick snapped his neck at a very extreme angle. I hope it's just exhaustion and not some type of injury to his neck.
The ring doctor, I think, is calling for a little more help. Roufus's seconds are helping him try to regain some sort of consciousness. They might want a stretcher to bring Rick Roufus out. Not only was the kick devastating, but the whole fight has been a drain on this now former champion.
Rick Roufus is not getting up, and he doesn't appear to be conscious of what's going on around him. Rick Roufus is not a quitter. He's not the kind of fighter that would ever stop the fight out of exhaustion. He may have just been out there running on empty the last round or two.
Hoost has certainly exercised any demons that may have been left over from 1992, the last time these two fought here in Marseille. And he is reveling in his world championship.
Hoost has done something no fighter has ever done before. Rick Roufus has never even been on the canvas in a fight. Not even a knockdown.
And you know, after all the punishment that Hoost delivered, this was the biggest kick of the night.
The angle at which Rick Roufus's head snapped was frightening. Here you see on his face Just no consciousness whatsoever. Here, over the left glove. Again, never even saw it coming. Actually lowered the glove as the kick was en route. Out on his feet at that point.
We have never seen this before. Rick Roufus falling as he did. Boy.
One more angle here on the kick. Just cleared the left shoulder. Hit full on the side of the neck and the lower left jaw.
We thought that the outcome would be as it is, but we didn't know exactly how we were going to get there. And Ernesto Hoost showed in dramatic fashion he was the superior fighter tonight. But let's take a look at Roufus now. He still has not been moved to the stretcher. Paramedics are on the scene. I think they trying to revive him, give him some smelling salts, oxygen. A scary moment. No doubt, no doubt.
Roufus's legs collapse at this point. No consciousness. Eyes are closed.
He didn't know what hit him, and he didn't know where he was when he hit the canvas.
Hoost being congratulated by his trainers, Johan Voss, Jean Plas, longtime resident of Amsterdam.
The crowd congratulating Hoost, and Roufus, now a crowd favorite here in Marseille, is up, and he seems like he's going to be okay. Ernesto Hoost came through in the main event, and he knocks out Rick the Jet Roufus to take the World Light Heavyweight Full Contact Division title. Rick Roufus goes down. He was hurt, but he seems like he'll be back to fight another day. For all of us at ISKA Boxing, Lon McCarron along with Mike Sawyer, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on The Deuce.